and we're live. Anton, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up? I mean,
How you doing, man?
long time no see in real life. Right, we see each
Yeah,
other
I mean,
on social media.
but I see you like really. You're a really busy man, like crazy. How can you spare your time with doing everything? Your family, your business is growing so fast lately. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like to keep busy. I guess I wouldn't know what to do otherwise. We had 2 years of 2 years of being at home. That whole time, as we grow older, I just thought that there's not a lot of time left, so let's do things. So
Right.
But no,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
exciting times. I mean, lots of things happening in Indonesia. We're a country of a lot of young people, and everything's growing. Yeah, so we're just taking the opportunities as they come.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. When we first met, 2014, I believe, it was in the
hmm
British Council event in one of your restaurant
In
in
Brighton.
Goodstep.
Oh
No,
yeah, yeah,
before
that's
that
true.
we met. So you were DJing there, and then you were DJing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's this award of British Council award, and then after that we met again in
We went to
Brighton for the Great
yeah,
Escape. Yeah, it was a great
the
time,
Great
man. It
Escape.
was a
Yeah,
great
exactly.
time.
It was a
And
great
then
time.
we
It's a great event, right? An event for new music, so it's exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was all there's always something new in Great Escape, and then there's always like life changing moments where your brain is like, oh, this exists,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then so it's like really really great time, and then it was great to spend time with you there. So I think we shared a lot of like common, how we call it, we want to each of us want to be to progressing, and then we want to build something, and then you build your part of a community. I built my part of my community.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
when the thing that struck me was seeing you is that you combine a lot of things, but then you don't seem to lose focus. You seem to still like doing this one line, and then the line is just growing bigger and bigger, and it's so what is tell me, how did you start?
How did I start? Well, um, interestingly, I think everything I do now has been inspired by music. Even though I'm doing
Right.
things outside of music, I think it's all been inspired by music. So I think my thing with music was when I was in boarding school, sad that I was stuck there, unhappy with my parents, feeling they were trying to get rid of me. I asked them for like, my mom came around, I was 12. My mom came around and I said, "Well, buy me the best set of headphones that we can find, because at 9 o'clock the lights go out. You can only wear headphones for the next 1 hour, and then 10 o'clock you have to go to
Mm,
sleep. So every night I had this 1 hour that I can like listen to music, and my headphones were not good. So she felt bad for me. She bought me really good headphones, right? And so every night I listened to the headphones I had was really good. I think it was like electrostatic, whatever. I don't even remember what headphones they were,
mm,
but they were so good that I was so inspired by a lot of different kinds of music. This was
mm,
in the 80s. There's like a lot of weird things going on with music, exciting times for music, from across the board, from early hip hop to like new wave coming at that time,
mm,
interesting rock and punk and stuff like that.
mm,
So from then on, I was like, music is my thing. And these kids would come out, like the seniors would come out usually to like beat you up in a pillow fight. They came to my bed at night. They're like, "Hey, can you DJ? Can you play music for the school dance?" So there's this kid that I thought was
oh,
going to
okay.
get beat up by my seniors, and then instead they're like, "Oh, we think you listen to good music because we play the music out loud, boom boxes before ito na." from that time on, I was like, wow, it's interesting, that I get, it seems like other people also like the choices I make around music,
Mm.
right? So I think it was like
When
an
was that?
important.
Well,
I
how
just
old were
realized
you?
12.
Oh, around 12. Oh,
So I
right.
was
That's
12.
quite okay.
Yeah,
Quite early. All right. Right, right.
12 until I was about 15. I was in the boarding school. But
Mm,
that, I think foundationally, that's what kind of set me on this journey until now. And I'm applying this thing where I think I have this, this kind of ability to curate interesting music, like, to, but it's music I like, right? But it seems like, from that time, I realized that there's quite a bit of other people that like my selection of music.
mm,
So this, little 12-year-old Asian kid in boarding school gave me a lot of kind of confidence that, that I was doing something, hmm, that was like, something on par with everyone else. I mean, everyone liked my
mm,
music. So, and then, later on, I picked up playing the drums. I had my drum teacher. I was trying to play in bands, but not that easy. I would go into nightclubs, and then I would see this DJ, this person playing other people's music, right, which was super interesting, and he was controlling the whole room with music played
right.
in his way, right? It was like mixed together. It was programmed. Now, from that time, I was like, hey, maybe I can try to pick this up. I know
Mm,
beats and stuff like that, like, basic music theory. Um, so I picked up my first turntables and records, and I was living in the States, $1 bins, right? Like the music that people didn't like, but it was super. They're super interesting, and then I went on that journey, of selecting
right.
music in
So
the States, and I was.
you always DJing. You always like curating. That's how you describe yourself. You you're a good curator. How do you
You know,
describe your musical
the thing is, I think
identity or
maybe what I learned when I was 12, by being, not confident, and me being this little Indonesian kid in boarding school, that my selection was good for a lot of people from a lot of different countries, gitu kan.
mm.
Um, and
Oh, where
so
was that?
I thought, yeah,
What country was it? Was it in the state?
I was in Singapore. I was in
Oh,
Singapore.
Singapore. Oh, okay, gotcha,
I
gotcha.
was in Singapore and
And then
boarding
after that
school
you
with a whole
moved to the
bunch of
state.
people from. Then I moved to the States for high school.
Oh,
Picked up
gotcha.
drums, bought my first turntables, and in college I started doing. I was trying to DJ. I couldn't really DJ anywhere. It's hard to break. Hard to break into the business,
Mm,
especially in the States. And then I got into the. I was living in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I got
mm.
into the Bay Area kind of rave scene, underground rave scene, and that like really, really inspired me.
What year
Right? It
was
was
this?
this was early 90s.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, early 90s. I had my record collection. I had my turntables and mixer at home, playing at home, and I had a my friend who in college. He's like, hey, let's do an event. So I said, okay. We put our money together. We rented an airplane hangar. We
Oh,
couldn't get
nice.
permits, so we did it illegally. Illegally. We hired security. We hired people for the door. Our friends, we didn't really hire other people. We hired security. We asked our friends to man the door
Right.
and everything else. And we had about 5,000 people in the airplane hangar.
Uh,
We booked
oh, that's not.
DJs that we like.
That's
Yeah,
right.
about 5,000 people, but only about 2,000 paid. 3,000 went through the back. The security, there was, the hangar had two gates, had two doors, like big doors, and the security was letting people into the back. They were getting like $10 to get people through the back, and we were charging 20 at the front. Um, Rookie mistake, but, lesson learned. Lesson learned. But it was still a lot of money. We're still 2,000 people paying
Right.
to $20 US.
Right.
So we made some money, but we got busted at 5 a.m. So we were supposed to go until 7 a.m. The best DJ was going to come out at 5 to 7. We would open the hangar doors, the sunlight would come in. Didn't happen. We got busted at 5 o'clock in the morning because it was illegal. But that was my first foray into like business basically. And that night that I started DJing, I DJed in front of people on the rave scene. It was my own event because obviously I couldn't get a gig. Who was I? But from that night on, I had bookings. So the other promoters, etc., would come to the event because it was a pretty big event, and then I had other promoters call me for bookings. Gitu. So again, I was like, hey, I think people do like the selection of things that I do, and
Mm,
people like the event that I did that we do. Yeah, and actually,
right.
interestingly, that event, someone just bought me this San Francisco Ray flyers. It's like out of England, and my
Oh,
flyers are
that's
in
nice,
here.
man.
I guess you remember my flyers
Oh,
are in here.
oh, that's
I
so
mean, if
cool.
somebody can get a hold of this book, but they've documented all the
Oh,
flyers from
that,
the rave scene from the early '90s,
dude,
and
that's so
yeah,
cool.
and our a few of our flyers are here. So to me, it's big kind of achievement.
Oh, that is
So
very nice.
I want to show it to you, but it's here.
We
Okay,
have time.
well, this here. That's one of
Oh,
the things I did.
that's,
My name's on there. But there was
dude,
a
that's so
production
cool.
thing that we did. Was this one here.
Oh,
But there's
that's
some other ones,
nice.
some super underground ones. We were doing like warehouses and super underground subculture parties, which
Right,
I really enjoyed and got inspired by. Gitu.
right, right, right,
The subculture, the curation, and then this thing with subcultures was what I thought
right.
was interesting. Things that are weird, from the headphones that I used to have. Um, Music that was weird become super interesting because of the good fidelity and everything else. So
So you were there at the heart of the first. Was it like the first? Because in the I have no. I'm not a rave expert. As you know, I'm a metalhead, but I know there was a rave movement as well uh, going on in at the
yeah,
same time in like everywhere. Because I know my friend in Australia, he's into that kind of scene as well, and then I think it's
yeah,
happening as well in the UK. Yeah,
yeah,
correct
yeah.
me
I
if
think
I'm
it
wrong.
actually went really big in the UK. But yeah, I was in San Francisco and I found again with these things a super underground, super subculture. Someone met me and said, "Hey, I think you would the music that you like and the way you are, you might like uh, the rave scene. You can come and check it out. There's a party going on, later that night." Oh,
Right.
actually, the first one was like a full. No, this is one of the things that inspired me. It's until now is that there's this thing that happens every full moon in San Francisco by this
Mm,
this one group, and no flyers, no promotion. Basically, it's all word of mouth, and they tell a few people at let's say midnight, and they say at 3 a.m. the party's gonna start at a beach somewhere. Full moon night, and you would hear news at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and you get news that it's on this
you
beach,
just get there. Oh
Santa
shoot,
Cruz
that's
or
great.
whatever. You head down, and by 3 a.m. there's like 3,000 people there, and
Shit.
everyone is there because they knew someone. They knew someone. It was like super word of mouth before social media, way before social media, um, and it's a community of people that are
Right,
into like scene, the music, um, and the full moon parties as a brand. That that
right,
that community latches onto. So that's like for me, it's super super inspiring. In music you have in business you have customers. In music you have from having bands and all that is fans, right? And I think fans are
right.
just like super super. They're supercharged customers again. They will travel
Right.
whatever time and to come to your gig because they really believe in what you do, and you do it from the heart.
So what next after that? Where
After
did
that,
that brought you?
yes, I was this Indonesian kid in the States, dreaming of becoming a DJ and a promoter. Um, I was well on my way. I was getting booked by the big events and the big promoters. Record shops would let me into the special room. The
Mm.
community, the scene accepted me. Uh, and then the partner I was doing my events with, he had a job in LA, and he had a motorcycle accident, passed away. Right, it was like one
Oh,
night
shoot.
before my graduation from college. Um, and actually, I was supposed to be coming back to Indonesia because I was after graduation. I was, 1 year after that, I would come back, and I was just talking to him the night before he passed away. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to Indonesia. I don't think I can do what I do here. And he kept going like, no, you've brought all of us, and you've introduced all of us into the scene, and we're doing this, and we're doing something really special. You should continue it. When you go back to Indonesia, I'm like, Indonesia is not the same thing as Ravid.
Mm.
It's just not the same. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. I have to go back and just be responsible, be an adult. The next day he passes away, so was stuck in my head. And maybe a couple years later, my parents called me and said, like, you have to come back, help us out here. Financially,
Mm.
they needed help, so I didn't even blink. I came back. So when I came back here, I was like, do I get a 9 to 5 job, or try to do what I do there, right? And so
Mm.
what I
Mm.
did was I came back with my with a few suitcases and a couple of boxes of my best records that I would,
Mm.
back in the day. Then anywhere I go, I was this new kid that was playing a lot in the events. And every time I played it, would people would like it. So I come back with these records. I come here, and I try to play in different places, in clubs here. And every
Mm.
time I would play 15 minutes, they would kick me off the decks. I would go to another place, play 10, 15 minutes, they would kick me off the decks. They would say your music is too weird. It's not what
Oh,
people
really?
want
Okay.
in
Right.
Indonesia. Here at that time, it
It
was,
was
you know,
house. Right.
I mean, it's house. I was also playing house music, but it was
Right.
house music that is like, yeah, the one here was a lot more commercial. It was a lot more catchy, and people actually, culturally, like, Indonesians are used to requesting songs. They would, it was before DJs. It was bands playing in
Oh.
cafes, and they
Mm.
would just play the hits, and like you would
Mm.
have a request form and pay the money, and they would play the song, whatever song that the customer wanted. And here they wanted the DJs to be that, like, it's this kind of Asian culture, Indonesian culture,
Oh.
and so
The top
DJs would
40
just play
top
songs that
40
people
culture,
would
yeah?
request, kind of top 40-ish, top 40 stuff. But um, and
Right.
the same hit songs could be played like 4 times in a night. And I wasn't about that. I was about, like, people coming to a DJ performance because that DJ is performing his set, not
Gotcha,
playing
yeah.
music that you like. I would be, most of the music I would play would be things that people have never heard. I would throw in some classics, of course, to keep them happy, but 90% of it would be music you haven't heard, but that you
Mm.
would like. But it's all about the energy and the selection and putting it together. That's the whole kind of DJ. The DJing is half knowing all your shit, like knowing all your music, but half apa namanya, half improvising, right? Because you
Gotcha.
have to know you're playing a selection of music, especially in the vinyl times. Like, when that's maybe you have 100 records you have with you. You know what they're like, but when you're in a club, it's always different every time. So you don't know what you're going to start with, what you're going to play in the middle, or end up with. It depends on the club and the people that are there, the energy, etc.
Mm.
So it's half
Mm. Mm.
improvisation. um I was getting kicked off the decks, and everywhere I went, I was like, I come back from the Bay Area. I was playing all the time, but not here. So yeah, I was depressed for a bit. I was like, maybe I just go back to doing like, uh, to make a living, kind of working. And then I said, no. I remembered
Mm.
my friend that passed away. Like, you should continue it. And so what I did was, I actually opened up a record shop using a credit card to buy all because I knew people back in the States. I opened a record
Right.
shop with the credit card, and it was the best record shop in Jakarta because it had things that were different. I had friends in the States telling me what to buy. I had like the most rare stuff. My first foray into retail, gitu kan, and like selected again,
Gotcha.
curating the best. And it was probably at one point the best record shop that was here, even though it was not big, but I had the best music. From there, I
But
met some DJs.
what was the name of the name of your
Ritma was the name. Ritma
okay in Jakarta,
was
yeah?
the name of the record shop. In Jakarta was Grand Wijaya, where our office until recently, we just moved until recently, is.
Mm.
Um, and one night, one day, a DJ came and goes, "Oh, I have a resident DJ. So I started working at this venue. They bought new turbo sound system. It's all set up. It's an old club in di Tamrin, apa namanya? It's called Parkit White Hashim. That's the place,
I
right?
heard
If
that.
you
Yeah, I heard
White
about
Hashim,
right,
it's
yeah.
an old kind of lounge, a bit sleazy, but they just bought a new sound system, but they could not get anybody there, right? So I go,
Mm.
well, maybe and he goes, oh, there's a second room that's in the back. So this room's interesting. So I go, interesting, right? Turbo sound and a second room. So I went there and I said, okay, let's try to do something. I'll bring in the DJs. I'll fill the second room with like, play house in the front and funk, and at that time like funk disco, like all the classic soul, and also drum and bass that was coming in then. Drum and bass is getting big again now with the Gen Zs. Uh, and I go to the club owner and say, look, you give me 50% of your take that night, door and bar. And they said yes. They're like, okay, we cannot get anybody here. Take 50%. So we did that night. It was a Saturday night, and we had about 700, 800 people. I had like all my
Okay.
friends promoted, and my brother and sister and their friends promoted. Um, yeah, and so from that night on, I told the club owner, like, look, let's just do this every Saturday, and they go, okay, but not at 50%, maybe there's a 30%. So I said, okay, we shook hands for the next year. We
Right.
would do this. I would take 30%
Right.
of the takings from the door and the bar. And they became like the business model of how I would do things after that. So
Mm.
I was making good money. It was like, I was getting 900 people on average. Yeah, on average, like 750 people through the door every Saturday. So I was making a living. I could pay the other DJs. I had like artists do kind of UV visuals. I had other DJs playing like old music in the back room. So I was able to make a living for myself and for the people that I would take in to kind of do this night. And it was something super super different than the other clubs. In the end, getting more attention than the other clubs, and the other clubs sending police out to us to bust us and all that because
Mm.
traffic, because of all these things. So interesting times, but you can do that here. You can pay the police to do stuff like that here.
Right, right,
Less now, maybe less now, but even more back then. The other clubs would
right.
send out police to bust us. Um, but it was interesting. So from that time on, I figured out there's this model where I can, the venues need revenue. They need customers. They need content. So I would go to these other DJs and say, look, you know, there's this club that because we had so many people every week, they're like, hey, can you also fill up our club, gitu kan? And I said, okay. And then I would send out other DJs and even other kinds of music. And I would get DJs, I would get the people doing promotion. Uh, I would
Mm.
hire a graphic designer. Before I would just do it myself, went to the printers myself. We still did flyers back then.
Mm.
But I was running 4 clubs at a time. I was sending DJs out, promoters, and making interesting money. um, and then
mm,
sponsors came. They were like, hey, well, you have this kind of community of people. I was early with like emails and everything else, and we had the early adopting customers again. Many people didn't use emails back then, but our customers did because they adopt early, and so it was easy to reach
right.
out to them. I was using SMS machines and things like that. And so yeah, I was running an operation out of the office. We had like 8 people. Just we're promoting different clubs one night and sending DJs out to play and promoters to promote. Gitu. So
Hmm.
and then
So
sponsors came. Like you have to kind of
how long did it take? From your start, from the start of that you manage the parket to you start
yeah,
getting orders and then you can starting management and then sponsors.
1 year, 1 year.
Oh crap, that's fast.
Well, it's fast actually, even before that. But I didn't want to leave my Saturday night at Parkit. I wanted to dedicate because it was just super special. Um, I didn't want to do other nights, but at the end of that 1 year, I had a fight. I had a fight with the manager because I was taking all the glory basically. So he was trying to make life hard for me. So after 1 year, I had a fight with him basically one morning, and we left and we just started managing the other clubs. Gitu. And I started doing like DJing
Okay.
in different clubs instead of just one, because there was a request from other people. So it built onto that. And then the sponsors came and they're like, hey, can we tap into kind of the things that you do?
Mm,
Because you have the market that we need, kind of this influential anak gaul, Indonesians would say, people in the know. We want to tap in. So we started doing things with sponsors, and
mm,
it became more substantial. Something that was uh, still underground. I mean, it was still the music that I wanted. I didn't compromise because people came for us, right?
mm,
But it was backed by sponsors, so it was the best of kind of both worlds. I mean, that's the whole thing with the nights that we did in Parkit, was that I put up a sign in front of the DJ booth saying that no requests, right? If you
mm,
want the songs that you want, there's other clubs that play them. So go ahead and go to the other clubs to listen to the songs. We play the songs that we want here, and it worked. It was a concept, because it was just so different, and the music was different, and we built a community of early adopters and people that was into subcultures as well, around
mm,
us. And
mm,
so
mm,
we built that community. Sponsors start coming in, more venues start coming in, and it became interesting. And that's when we started the company called Future 10. That's when we started doing that. I
okay.
took in some more DJs, brought in people doing promotion and things like that. And the sponsors after that, first was tapping in with sponsorship, and then they came in like, hey, wait, can you produce our events? And so for a long time, I mean, for
Mm,
years, it was not easy work, but we were doing events for cigarette companies, and at the height of it, like we had Sony Electronics for like 2 years. We had but drinks companies. We did events for BMW. We did all these things that that I didn't chase it, but they commissioned us to do it. Because
mm,
we had
mm,
a
mm,
pool of talent like around us, like music, DJs, musicians, artists, visual artists, to do our parties. And we started producing like corporate events that was interesting and different. We didn't chase, we
mm,
didn't we didn't pitch, we didn't go for pitches. It was all commission work. So yeah, so we got a lot of kind of experience and network, and
mm,
apa namanya, and the portfolio, right? If
mm,
we've done events for these big companies, then and they're really cool events too, like Nike. We did Nike for years, Adidas for before that. So but some really interesting clients that we built, right, from doing these kind of really underground music events that had a community behind it, to doing interesting kind of events for you know for more people. But all that time, like there was no compromise. It was the things that we, well, I'll be compromised a bit if it's like big corporate events, but it was still the things that we like to do with the people we like to do it with, gitu kan.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
consider myself lucky in that go that way, gitu.
How did you get interested into retail?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting connection, and then looking back, it's interesting of like connecting the dots with it, right? Mungkin the first exposure into retail was the record shop, which I
Mm,
thought was it's interesting, like and it's all the same, right? I think to me, retail or music or the show business, it's all about entertainment, isn't it? We're all in the entertainment hospitality business, right?
mm,
A customer comes to a record shop, buys a record that they've been looking for their whole life, and it keeps them happy. It makes them happy. It's just like me being in a on a beach on a full moon with a few thousand people that with and the craziest music I've ever heard gitu kan. I was a happy
mm,
person gitu. It's the same. Like you come to you find things in a store and you purchase it, bring it home. It's the same kind of happiness, and so that's what we try to deliver in the record shop. So with that experience, and also the thing with curation, like people like the music that I selected, and maybe even the decorations that we did, etc. People then would ask me about other things like, "Hey, what's that shirt you're wearing? What's that hat you're wearing?" Gitu kan. So I was like, "Hey, wait, that's some interesting things going on." So they trust you with a selection of things. It means that you can maybe curate more things for people. Like, so there's this trust of like me not compromising on things, and me showing like showing people the best music that I can find, right? In a way that I put it together. Yeah. And they would ask me different things, and I say, well, maybe we can do something with this. And so then another kind of dot connecting is that, and then after that, actually, the jump before retail was that I got picked out by this big venue, the biggest venue in Jakarta Selatan, actually called Bengkel Night Park. Well, I named it Night Park. This big pyramid building. It's a multi-purpose venue, um, doing like live music and DJs in the weekends. And they're like, "Oh, can you manage this place?" I was like 25 or 26 at that time. 25. Can you manage this place? We're doing like, some bands, some live acts, some smaller international acts, and then you DJ every Saturday to this venue of like 7,000 people. So of course, yeah, I said yes. I'm like, that's another challenge. So
mm,
I did that
mm,
Bangkok
mm,
Night Park for a few years, and I got my hands into like kind of promoting, doing live shows and like promoting a venue. At that time, one of the biggest in Asia and in ASEAN. So I did that for 3 years. So I got a lot of experience in running a company. I was managing 350 people,
mm,
a lot
mm.
of people older than me at that time. So that was an
I-
interesting experience.
Is
And after
it
that, after I,
still in the Future 10?
oh no, it
Is
was
it
me
still
personally. It was
Oh,
me. It
okay.
was
So
me
it's different.
personally. Yeah. So Future 10 was still happening on the side. I was doing this, but this club was so big, and that everyone was going there in the weekends. It would fit. We had 9,000 people in there one time, one weekend.
Oh,
We emptied out like the whole of most of Jakarta nightlife every Saturday night, and so
right,
anything else that was going on was I didn't feel good about it, but it was just what happened. Like because it was so
right,
big.
right,
The building is still there. If you Google map it and you go to SCBD in the middle of Jakarta, the pyramid building is still there.
right, right, right.
Um, and so after that, yeah, after 3 years, I quit that, and I started doing music festivals. I had this idea where, in Singapore they have Zouk out. They already
Mm,
had it at that time.
I know Zook. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, how come Jakarta doesn't have its own? So I was like, hey, maybe we can try to do music festival. So I teamed up with investors. I was running a radio, apa? A radio channel. I think it was Prambors. Yeah, Prambors. company behind Prambors Radio. And so we did had this idea called Jakarta Movement, and they go, oh yeah, let's do it. And so we did that. We had 25,000 people. We did well. We did okay, but permits and like the whole police thing here is hard, right?
mm,
um, the government doesn't have any. Singapore government supports like the music festivals, the DJ festivals, etc. But yeah, Indonesia again, different story. So our event was getting like not busted, but they had like police out in front of our gates and stuff like that. And so we lost money in the last event, and we stopped the business basically. But yeah, I put
mm,
together like
mm,
DJs, and even before like the other festivals did it, we had bands, we had DJs in one festival. Because all the things that I like basically in one place. We brought people in from
mm,
Europe, from America. We had the best indie bands playing. We had all kinds of music. But that ended because the whole permit it was just difficult. And after that, I started going into that's the connection to retail. So I had a friend that I knew from music. He was working at a big shopping center. And it's like, we have the space. Do you want to do a music event there? I go, let me look at it. It was like 1,000 meters squared. And I said, wait, I have this idea. So one time we did an event where it was a Sunday
mm,
event where we had DJs, bands, etc. playing, and then in one area we had retail. Because we had friends that were making like T-shirts and all these really cool things. I didn't
right.
know where they would sell. I said, "Oh, we'll do it this kind of market on the side on a Sunday event." It was we had a couple of thousand people, and people were selling things. I mean, it was the same people that are interested in really good music, really different music, are interested in really cool and different products and fashion, and all these other stuff like art and vintage stuff and all that. And so I go, hey, maybe we can put all these things together. Like my whole experience of selecting things and people asking me for things because they trust in my selection, and the experience of putting events together and people together to manage it. I say, hey, maybe we can do something. So when that friend asked if we can do a music event, I said, yeah, maybe we can try another type of festival, but not of music, but of just creativity in general. Of things, of people selling other things. There'll be music there for sure because that's what we do. But there's people selling the best food that that we can find, and selling the best clothes, and at that time like fixed gear bicycles and like art pieces. And there's this girl that went to culinary school in France, and she's selling these cakes that were like super expensive but really good. Couldn't find a market for it. We put all these crazy people together, and we had to assemble 25 brands into this 1,000 meter squared space. We couldn't find 25. We had to make up a few booths. Again, we had to
Okay.
pretend that we filled up all the booths. Like we just had, I basically like paid people to like fill it up basically. And we had 5,000 people come to it. Yeah, we called it Bright
Mm,
Spot
mm.
Market. At the time, it was like just at the end of the recession, that we had in Indonesia. This is 2000. This is 2008, 2009. So this is the
Oh,
2007,
okay. It's
2008
even.
recession. A
Oh,
bit
okay,
later,
okay.
I forget when the
Right. It
the
was.
rupiah. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
so it's
there was a
1998, 99, and then again 2008. That was a global
mhm,
recession and stuff because
there was
it
a
happened
global
in America.
recession.
Yeah, 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 I remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So it was a lot of empty spaces in these shopping centers, and a lot of people, not having jobs and trying to do something, but not finding the market for it, right? Not finding the channel for it. So I figure, yeah, we can try to do something. So we did the first one, 25 vendors, 5,000 people came. All 5,000 of people that we knew from music, all the database from
Right.
before, which is interesting. The developers were happy, but other developers heard of it, and they contacted me and said, hey, we have space, come and do it. So the next event we had 35 vendors, we had 12,000 people, and then it went on and went on. Like so It was like 2009 to 2010. We did the first one. 15 years ago, 2009, 15 years ago. First event, 25 vendors, 5,000 people. The last one we did, we took over a dead mall, Ratu Plaza. You probably know it, right?
Right. Right.
Um, we had 200 vendors on show. We actually had 1,000 apply, so we said no to 800, and we had
Wow.
130,000 people. We had 130,000 people.
For one
So
weekend, for one day, for
yeah, again, inspired by kind of music festivals. Again, the recurring theme, this thing with music.
right.
Glastonbury would happen over 2 weekends. Coachella would happen over 2 weekends, and I go, wait, if our mission is to get these vendors to sell more things, what if we do it for 2 weekends so we can get more people to come and buy
Oh,
stuff from
okay.
these guys, right? Expose more people. So ever since 2 years ago, I said, let's just go and try 2 weekends. It was a big move, but in the end, you get more people, the vendors get more
Mm,
sales, um,
mm.
and we can, have more bands playing, more DJs play, more artists do things, and it works out, and it's crazy, with that many people. So and then so we've done over the 15 years we've been doing Bright Spot Market. We've been doing it in different places all the time. Again, inspired by the rave scene, where they would just they go find like an empty warehouse. They go, this, they go find all these like crazy places, outdoors and caves and beaches. My thing was like we could go to a convention hall and do that every year there, but it'll be boring, right? And so I think it's this kind of adventure, of this curation of everything, including the space we do it in. So we would try to find raw spaces, empty spaces, underused spaces throughout the city. It becomes part of the whole experience. That people follow us because we travel around every year, different places. So
Right.
the dots connecting. Yeah.
So when did you start to think that okay, I'm going to like settling in, like building like the real retail shop, and then focus on that?
Actually, for 3 or 4 years into Bright Spot Market, right, it was obvious that there's this kind of network. I mean, this kind of marketplace of people making cool things for I'm saying cool for the lack of a better word. It is just people doing different things, non-mainstream things. People from the subculture doing like fashion, doing food. Um, um, because of our platform, right? People started making things for it, and more people appreciate these kind of interesting things, and it grows. Like it becomes like a flywheel of just like cool things
Right.
like creativity, like people doing big sales during the event, and so it built up. And so after 3 or 4 years, it was obvious that we were on to something, and there was like a lot of brands becoming big, getting invested, going into like a proper stores because of our platform. um, we had this idea, oh, we need to do something more permanent, right, on the side, because then they'll have a place to sell on a daily basis. And so we did
Mm.
that. The first few years we just had like friends and family invest, like a few friends, and it went well, but it got big, and it's like again, I was saying, like there's a lot of compromises because it got like too big, and then investors came in and there was a lot of compromise. In the end, like, it's not something that we wanted to do, and basically the investors took over, the people took over. But actually, I'm in the process of buying that company back. It's called the Good Step. It's a place for retail, but as a different retail. We do music events there, we do art events there, but it's retail and dining. It's like a community center, but it's transactional. It's a place to shop. But
Mm.
again, it became something that was more compromised than passion. That I lost the feeling for it. It was not something that we wanted to do, and we thought we didn't do it well because it was not what we wanted to do. Itu aja sih. We didn't have full
Oh,
control
okay.
of it.
So you give up
But it's
Good
coming back
Step?
to us. It's coming back to us in the next. a couple in next month. So
Oh, that's
to think
great.
about what to do with it.
Right, right. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I missed that story.
Yes, I haven't made it public, right? But it's in the process, but it's coming together.
I see you work like walking in this line. It's not a fine line. You
Hmm.
like all the events that you mentioned. I was a teenage kid in Bandung, a metalhead in Bandung. When
Hmm.
you did all
Hmm.
that, I heard about
Hmm.
Jakarta movement. I heard about
Hmm.
Parkit. I heard about events in
Hmm.
Bengkel. I didn't know it was you.
Hmm.
Like 100%. I just
Yeah.
know that like half an hour ago, and it was amazing because because I was in the market. I wasn't the folks
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
attend your
Came to it.
shows,
Yeah. Exactly.
but we
Yeah.
hear that like it's like amplified by other people that is not even in your scene. So it's
Yeah.
the noise is like really loud back then.
Yeah. It was loud. Actually, in yeah, just for the fact that it was something different, you know. Actually, back then there was MTV Tracks magazine, and they put me as one of
Mm,
10 people with the Midas touch in entertainment. You know, I
mm,
forget
mm, mm,
who the other. You know, they were all big people, but they put me there because of Jakarta movement, because of
mm,
like the nightlife scene and how it changed people's perception about nightlife. And that's just the thing too. Um, Back then, like if you hear a DJ now is getting paid, $100,000 a night to play for a couple of hours, and they're in private jets. But back then, it was just really very, very underground, very small, and very negative, especially for for Indonesia. There was
mm,
what are you doing DJing like? But it applies to maybe a lot of like people in the creative industry. Gitu kan. People don't
mm.
think that you can do something beneficial for a lot of people. But so the more I get treated like that, I get people. What are you doing, DJing? Like I went, I went to business school, whatever. But I became a DJ, and I was feeling that like with other people trying to be DJs. And, again, not the same as why are you in a band? Why are you DJing? Why are you doing paintings? Why are you doing
Right,
graffiti? Like make something of your life. And so I just wanted to do my part to show that like creativity can be meaningful, can be beneficial for a lot of people. That if you do something different, but you do it as well as you could, it could be something. And then MTV Tracks magazine put me on that thing, so that's why it was like a lot of noise. People from other scenes that was not from that scene, but have the same kind of this kind of subculture underground mentality would support us because we were doing um, something basically very kind of similar in a way, even though the music was different gitu kan. So
right, right,
interesting, it was interesting, yeah. And then I applied that to basically people making things like creative in different fields, and it worked. Right, there were all these
right, right.
like in music, like all these kind of younger kids will come up to me and say, hey, I want to be a DJ too. I want to start doing nights too. Hey, can I join your crew? I was like, well, you just do your own crew, right? And then with and it's open source, man. Go to clubs and ask them for a revenue share. If they won't pay you for it, if they won't hire you, just say like you can bring the crowd, get a cut from their bar or the door. We did it that way. You can do it too. Start like a crew, like start a brand. And we would say no to these kids coming to our crew, but I said like just do your own. And so a lot of kids started doing that, like built up the scene. For venues
Mm,
and for DJs at that time until now. That was the model that has been used, from then until now. Like a lot of clubs actually then open clubs and have nights where they would do revenue sharing with the promoters, with the DJs. So interesting to see. And then you see these guys now, they've become like big producers or big DJs, or they've grown to become like business people, etc. And we know them from back then. It's all network, right? It's all great, and it's a good practice in like doing making money from your passion, right? And so, and that's what
Right.
that's why I do it. I was this Indonesian kid in a field or a beach, going like, "Holy shit, this is the best thing ever!" Right?
Right.
With
Right.
music
Right.
and like with the people. So I just, I thought I could do that, to the city that I didn't really want to come back to Jakarta, but but I was asked to come back with the for my family and say, make the best of it. But a lot of things were not here, so I figured, I have to leave this place better than I found it. So I do my part, and that's what I've
Right.
been doing. You see.
Right. That's a good one. That's a good one. What other venture are you pursuing now in music or in other fields?
Now, see, a lot of the things I do is again, maybe kind of outside of music. I mean, I still actively DJ at my age. Still being asked to DJ. I think actually after the pandemic, I DJed more than I ever did before. Like I was
Okay.
playing
Interesting.
every 2 times, 3 times a week. Um, and yeah, that point too, I was like, my before we would chase it, but now I would get people asking me to do it, and I say, okay, I will do it for a certain fee, because otherwise I just 'cause I'm tired juga kan at this age to be going out at night because DJ gigs are late at night. But
Right.
the thing is, I enjoy doing it. Right, I don't think I will stop. Like a lot of people that started with me have kind of retired or are not relevant anymore. They don't get asked to play anymore, basically. But I'm lucky that I still can do it. That's just one of the best things you can do. It's the best job ever.
Right.
And that
Right.
was my thing too, right? If I didn't get paid, I would still DJ, right? Because I like doing it.
Right. Now, how do you define yourself? Are you entrepreneur first or are you artist first? I don't know if this is a fair question, but
Yeah, no, it's actually a good question, right? I don't think I'm a full business person because whenever I feel I'm compromising, I don't feel like I'm doing great work, right? I would rather not do it. And I'm not in my element either. Kan. So I think I'm more of a tadi ko, entrepreneur or apa tadi? Entrepreneur
yeah, well,
and
basic entrepreneur or artist first. Which one is your
yeah, I would say artist first, just for the fact
nice?
that the ito tadi, right? There's I'm uncomfortable when there's compromises.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
That makes
I would
sense.
say
Like
I would never be a really good business person, in my opinion, because I cannot fully be that either. It's all these things that would stop me from doing things only for money, right? I'm
right,
not driven by that. Gitu. It's great to do it. It's great to be able to be able to make money for yourselves and people around you and other people. Create like what I do with Bright Spot, creating opportunities for hundreds and hundreds of brands. Gitu. It's great, gitu kan. But it's not. It's that's the result. That's not the activity,
right,
gitu kan. The activity is doing creating something interesting for people to come and enjoy and be entertained and happy about, be inspired by, and and I think if you do that well, you will make money. And
right,
if you don't, you'll still be happy because you're doing what you like to do, right? Or you're making other people happy. That's what I think. So I would never be a really good business person, entrepreneur. I think because I'm not fully driven by that. Partially, maybe, but
yeah. It's no, it's all makes sense now. Where did you acquire your business acumen? Where do you find
you
those?
know,
Where
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. You know what it could be? Mm, I might be from playing music. It might be from DJing. I think
Interesting.
it could be that. As I said before, that it's an interesting art. I'm lucky to be able to do it. Um, I make some of my own music. I don't make enough. 'Cause I don't have too much time, but I love doing it. But as a DJ, you're playing other people's music, right? So basically, you're promoting other people's music, and you're putting it together in a way where a person can enjoy it from beginning to end. Let's say a DJ set is 2 hours. That's where you start and where it goes and where it ends, right? And throughout that time, you have to make sure that the whole journey is interesting, right? And music have different intensities, different feelings, um, and putting it together, programming it where it's like when you're playing a live set, you have your repertoire. You think about what you're gonna play. The first song, the third song is super important. The second song is very important, guitar, and then the last song is going to be really important, right? So it's a bit like that, but even more intense when you're DJing because then it's a longer duration. It's other people's music. It's half improvisation because you don't know what's going to go next. When we're doing like live band sets, we know we're going to play beginning to end. We know exactly what we write down the set list. When you're DJing, you're not writing a set list. DJs that do are horrible DJs. No, I shouldn't say that. Maybe some DJs are great by doing that, but I
Right, right,
think the
right.
best DJs are the ones that play from the heart and are the ones that actually can read a room or a festival or now they're playing to 50,000 people, whatever. Um, so it depends. What you do depends on what is happening around you. So I think I've been able to read that. I've been able to read the room
Right,
because when
right.
you're DJing, that's what you're supposed to do. It's not about you. You're just channeling energies from this different music to these people, right? You're a good DJ if you can do that well from beginning to end. People love your set, and people want you to come back. Venues want you to come back, gitu kan? And you build up your kind of following, and then more people come, more people come, more people come, more people tell other people about you. In the age of social media, then it's people posting about you. So I think that built up my kind of business. I think, yeah, I don't think I'm great. I think I'm far from. There's more things that I could have done better, or more things that I could do. Uh, tapi being able to read that room and being able to use the tools that you have, and it's different every time, and you have to respond to it every time. Um, I think has maybe made me a better person in business. That's what I feel.
That is
So
great. That is great. Yeah. So you transpire what you learn or what inspired you. Actually, you don't even
yeah,
how we call it. You don't even understand that you're in the process. You're just doing it, and then you catch up the things that you see, all these
yeah,
things happening in front of your eyes, and you connect the dots,
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
bring it
exactly.
to
Yeah, you. It's feelings, right? It's not a set
hmm,
list.
hmm,
That's what I find. 'Cause,
hmm, hmm.
we would perform in our band, and we would have a set list, right? We know what we're gonna start with. We know where we're gonna end with, and after the last song on your set list, you're done. You don't. You can, the encore has been planned, gitu
Hmm,
kan. Um,
hmm.
with DJing, it's not. It's all kind of. I mean, I used to practice 2 hours a day, but I don't anymore. But back in the day, it was my discipline to like practice 2 hours a day. Even if I stop enjoying doing it, I still had to do my 2 hours a day to make sure that I can perform well when I perform in front of people, right? So I know exactly what the arsenal I had in my music, my record box. I know exactly what I can do with them and what each song does. Um, just practice until I know them really well, and when I play out, it's a lot of feelings and intuition and peka, bahasa Indonesia peka. I don't know what it is in English. Like have to be so aware with the feeling of the room, the energy, and like people's faces and people's reaction in
right,
aggregate, like in
right,
total. But even sometimes you look at individuals, they're happy, they're not happy. It's all these things processing. Obviously, maybe AI later on can do this a lot better than us, but it will not have kind of that feel that humans do. But it's this kind of analyzing that I just do on the back of my head,
right,
even without thinking. And it's not thinking. It's never like the best nights I have DJing. I don't think about. I don't. Sometimes I don't remember what I played, but
right,
somehow automatically I just pick the right things. And sometimes a lot of it I feel is like magic, but that happens when you absorb other people's kind of energy. That's what I feel. I mean, it sounds like strange, but
no, I think
it
it's
happens.
just it's I think it's a process of you acquiring and then acquiring, the ability of reading the room, as you mentioned,
Yeah,
because how to read the room is different every time. The more
it's
you
different
you
every
you
time.
in the room, the more you in the room, the more you can read different situation, right? that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
that's the nature of it.
yeah. Oh, then also one thing was that sometimes I would have residencies. Remember, I would say like at Bengal Night Park, I was resident there every Saturday night for couple of years. That even though again every night is kind of different, but I know the room. It makes it easier when it's familiar, like all the time, right? But
Right,
then when you're DJing, you're not. When you're a traveling DJ, you're not. When I was a resident, that was happening. But if you're not a resident DJ, and you're like a DJ traveling around, it's different rooms every time, different people, different needs. Even if you say, okay, my first song's going to be this, my second song this, my third song this, it could completely change because you don't know what's going to happen. I'm playing in a different country. I used to actually play around the region in Australia. It's they know different songs, they like different things. The room is set differently. It's big, it's small, it's packed, it's not packed. It's different every time. Just like life, different
right.
every time.
So how do you think, I mean running a business as well as running a show or performing, there's a risk on that, right? So what if you
Mhm.
miss, how do you, like, getting back to the rhythm when it, oh shoot,
Yeah.
I read it wrongly, or your solution just doesn't work.
Yeah. Uh, that's a good one. You correct yourself. That's actually a good one. Um, I mean, there's times when you are not on it, right? Maybe you play the wrong track. It's supposed to be like this. After that, you think people going to respond in a certain way, and they don't. Right? You play like a banging track after that, and people didn't want that. People want something still mellow. Um, you've made that mistake, and after that, in DJing you have to kind of fix that. The next song you have to make sure that you don't go again in the wrong direction. You kind of go back to what they will enjoy, right? You correct yourself. I think in business the same thing is owning up to what you've done wrong and correct yourself. But what I find, being in a band or maybe DJing, especially DJing, it's basically you yourself performing in front of these people. And when you're a band, you have your drummer, you have your bass player, you have your guitar player, vocalist, keyboard, whatever. So there's more people as a unit doing it. In business, it's especially if it gets to a certain scale, it's a lot of people, right? You're responsible for, especially that you're responsible for a lot of people to be performing gitu kan. And so it's it's harder. Being in a band is harder than being in a one person DJ. Being in an organization with a lot of people, it's like an orchestra gitu kan. There's someone on the
Mm,
oboe, someone, a bunch of people on strings, on horns. It's harder, and if you're the imagine you're the conductor, you have to make sure that everyone, you're not playing an instrument anymore, right? That's the big
mm,
difference. This is what I challenge to. I'm still learning, and that I maybe feel that somebody else could do it better than me. I can come up with the concepts and strategy direction, but operationally, I'm not. I don't think I'm the. I'm learning. I want to. I don't think I'm the best conductor. It's hard being a conductor, kan? It's hard. You have to put all these people together and they have to play in harmony. They have to play. Their skill has to be right. You cannot have a bad oboe player. You can't have a bad pianist. In your orchestra. It's going to ruin everything about your
mm.
orchestra. And so you have to assemble the best people you can find. They have to play in symphony with everybody else, and that's the best analogy for business in music, I think, as an orchestra. So the one man DJ person, maybe in with the advent of AI, I think possibly they could be a one person company with AI. They can be big. That's probably coming soon. But as it is now, it's an orchestra,
Right,
and it's hard. It's hard. I've made my mistakes. So
right. Is it lonely up there?
yeah, it's
Tell me about it.
definitely.
Tell me about it.
Um, as a conductor, again, as the music analogy, as a conductor, you're possibly the most responsible for anything that happens in your orchestra, right? If you have the string section go bad, it's on you. You're on the pedestal. You're by yourself. You know, everyone is
Mm,
working kind of for you, and so it's tough to be in that pressure like all the time. You know, if it's going well, it's going well. Some days it doesn't go well, um, and it's on you. So better to be the lone DJ guy.
right, 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 right. Okay,
Mm,
okay. Wow, this is eye opening. I learned so many things today. It's amazing. One of the thing that I like doing this is that remember when you start your story was in early 90s or
mhm,
in boarding school even, and then up to
mhm.
today
Yeah,
where
baby
you're
step.
in a month away to acquire back your company. That's like 25
Mhm.
of the best years of your life, compressed into 1 hour.
Mm,
And then I absorb those stories doing this, and it's amazing. Because I used to be a
yeah.
person
The
who
best
got
and
in.
worst, right? The best and worst. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. I mean the best,
with the
meaning the top of the or the bottom, like the the
yeah, the bottom,
extreme
yeah,
top
the
or
best of
top
both.
top and bottom. And that's
The
that's
extreme, yeah.
really
Well,
like a journey of back into 1 hour, and 20 years since flyering back then, until someone doing the flyering for
yeah,
you, and then at the time when you just announce something, and then people will just spread by its own. That's like
yeah,
a journey, a cycle, that is iteration cycle, that is like getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and
yeah.
then takes where you are at now. And it's been amazing. I couldn't connect that, I don't know if uh if there is one place where people can know your story, that you were this guy and then you're still the same guy now. It's just that you manage bigger things.
Yeah.
So what is your best learning? What is your uh,
Hmm. You know, the thing is, I feel even though I'm at my age, right? I don't know. I still feel that I don't know enough. Uh, that I think maybe I've done a lot of things. I mean, if you ask, pretty much an adventure. I think I've been lucky to be able to do these things. Um, but I think, and yeah, I probably take a lot of lessons from it, um, good and bad, right? And a lot of learning. I mean, I scar tissue from all the mistakes I made, in in music and business. A lot less mistakes in music because it's mostly a lot of feelings. But in business is making that feeling go into more people and having more people you know probably have the same vision as you, have the same excitement, have the same competence to do this together. It's not as easy, right? I've lost control of my company because I don't think I've done it well. Yeah, luckily I'm will be getting it back. And again, now I'm saying I don't know if I am able to then scale it to a certain level. Maybe I can bring it up to a higher level, but then it should be other people running it operationally. Because I say maybe I'm not a conductor, um, but I'm also not just the violin player, right? I don't know where I should be, if we're talking about a business or an orchestra. So there's a lot of learning on my part, but I learned that, yeah, maybe the thing is, if I'm not comfortable with the situation, if I'm not in my element, if it's a lot of compromise on what I think is right in my passion, then a lot of times it will not go well. That will not end well, right? There's been some ventures I would say, hey, let's do this. It's not exactly what we should be doing, but I think there's opportunity in money. Um, so far, I think I failed all that. That if I take an opportunity
hmm,
for purely for money,
mm,
but whenever it's an opportunity that I feel that we can make impact, then it goes a lot better, and the money, you trust that the money will come, right? So that's what I learned, and I don't think it applies for everyone. I think there's other people that are better than me in other things, and but from my perspective, I think what I've learned is that kind of your intuition and your gut, especially as you get older. Like when you're young, you make all the mistakes, and it becomes your knowledge, becomes your intuition. But as you get older, I think you just have to listen to your gut. It seems like so, and put yourself around the
right,
best people that you can find.
right, right, right. Yeah, that's the best one. So what next?
I don't. I'm thinking if I. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that feel that I want to do, and I've done it, gitu kan. So I've been lucky that I could, and I think the part of the reason why I could do what I do. I think if I were still living in the States, don't think I would be able to do these things as many things as I could do in Indonesia. Again, there's coming back from another country here. My thing was, all these things I saw there. I tried to bring them here because it wasn't here yet. I was trying to make my city as good as other cities I've been to, more established cities. Hey, we're in England together, etc. Like all these things we were talking about, like infrastructurally and like social, society wise, and government and even society. Like all these things are happening much better in other places. But my thing was like coming back here, like we need to catch up, right? um, we need to be doing things culturally that maybe can speed up that progress to become on par and have our own identity gitu kan. So I think we've made good progress in that way, but we still have a lot of ways to go. I'm happy with what I've been doing, and actually there's other people now that are doing. When I started, there was not really anybody else that care about kind of like culture. Um, but now I think more people are into it. I think it's just the times are different too, and it's the era of like social media and TikTok and everything else. Things are spreading faster, and there's a whole bunch of people doing really interesting things. We were there
Mm.
early. Happy to have started kicked everything off, but there's some interesting people doing things nowadays. So maybe I don't have to be doing them. Maybe I can just enjoy going
Okay.
forward. We'll see. I don't think I can keep still at the same time, so we'll see.
You will create something. You will create something. I can smell that. It's in, it's in your. Okay, so this is interesting. It's even bigger. I mean, I
Yeah, yeah, maybe. But that's the interesting about creativity. It's like sometimes you don't know what's it's all these little happy accidents that will happen, and then hey, maybe this is interesting. Hey, this haven't been done before.
right,
So we'll
right,
see. Again, I cannot keep still. I just you know we 2 years we stayed in our houses during COVID, so it's
right.
nicer to be doing things.
Yeah, yeah,
Menolak
yeah.
tua
Of
juga
course,
ya.
of
We don't
course.
want
Right, right,
to keep
right,
young.
right. Of course, of
To keep
course.
young.
Right. Okay. I think we talk so many things today, and I believe I learned a lot today from because I didn't know, like, I genuinely don't know what you did. I just know that you were
Yeah,
successful, and then you make all this like, because when I try to find a guest for this podcast from Indonesia, I find it hard
yeah,
because I want someone that is covering other parts that I didn't cover, or
yeah.
something
Other
that I
scenes,
cannot
yeah,
achieve,
yeah,
or so something else that I can learn.
yeah.
And then, I mean, I made the right choice. You just you know how hard I chase you to, like, Anton, come on, I email you so many times, and then finally you are here, and then, yeah, I made the right choice. And then I think it's really great to have you here, man. It's an honor to have
Yeah.
you. And then
No,
you have.
I feel like this has been as much for me an interesting time as well because yeah, sometimes I don't go in depth with with other people when they were discussing, let's say, something particularly in business or particularly in retail. But this like conversation of putting it all together, with this inspiration from music and being able to kind of tie everything together is it's not a conversation I have often and as deep. So I find that I've tonight also learned tonight my time. What time is it there? Morning.
It's a morning, yeah, and
That I've
it's 10:30.
Yeah, I've learned as much as you probably learn as much as you about this whole journey. Some things sometimes I don't even think about it as well. But so
That is
thank you.
cool. That is cool. That is cool. All right then. All right then. We've been 1 hour 20 minutes, so I guess I'm going to edit a bit, but I think I got the
Yeah.
best bit. It's a
Okay.
pleasure again. Thank you so much. We'll stay in touch, and if you
Yeah,
want
for sure.
anything, like, yeah, if you want to, like, Robin, hey Robin, I have something that I want to talk about. Just reach out, and then let's see what we can
Yeah,
do
yeah, for
together.
sure, man. For sure, for
Awesome.
sure.
Awesome. Awesome. All
When are
right
you
then.
coming
All
back to
right then.
Jakarta? Never
I
coming
still
back,
don't
right?
know. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
I just got started that because I didn't. I mean, you know how it is moving to a new country. I moved
Yeah.
after my 40s. I have a family,
Yeah.
so I have to, survive first. So I learned all those things in the first 6 years, and then in the past couple of months, I was like, hmm, I need to go back to music, like spend a bit of my time doing this. So here I am, and it was the best decision ever. It's been great so far. It's been great.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You've been a man of music, so that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
doesn't go
So
away, right?
so no, it doesn't go away. Correct. That's
It doesn't go away.
that's the best way to put it. It doesn't go away. You just stay there.
Yeah,
You're just
that's
sleeping
there.
somewhere in your, and then you just wake them up, and then it become part of your life again, and it's great. I
Yeah,
embrace it.
exactly.
I embrace it 100%. I enjoy it so much. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. It's not the end, but we'll talk again. But
Okay.
thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Thank you
Anton.
for the time.
Of
I've
course,
had a good
of
time.
course, man. Of course, man. Peace out.
All right. See you, Ben.
Peace, peace. Bye.